Dear human, dear soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. Since a near-death experience, I have the gift to communicate with subtle levels of the cosmos. The knowledge from these for us invisible forms of energy I capture in my books, and it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge, these conversations, with you as a supplement to the books. Please excuse me if the terms and articulations are not perfect. Our mother tongue is German, but we try to translate it to the best of our abilities. Thank you. Dearest friend and King Solomon, you said that you would like to talk about the transition, so please begin as you would like to begin to talk about transition and your experience and knowledge about it.
The activity of a human being will diminish during the course of his life, like flowers wilt and autumn heralds the winter. So the life force will wane in the course of life, sooner for some and later for another. The decisive factor for the speed of this process is the conscious direction of energy into the body. If you do not have any conscious readiness to direct the cosmic energy into your body, you will experience the deterioration of your physical powers unaffected by the cosmic energy. Through a fast transformation of energy, the transition of the soul will begin sooner. A strong connection of a soul to the body is always also an indication of the body's health. Only a healthy body can hold and maintain the energy of the soul. The weakening physical tools, especially during life, can initiate the separation of the soul from the body far sooner than you suspect. Therefore, it is important to use the aforementioned tools for the direction of the chi forces into the body continually and as soon as possible in your life. If you live in physical awareness, you help the soul to remain aware.
Interesting. Please continue.
Due to the change of the physical aspects towards the end of your life, the process of disconnection will begin. A great many cosmic processes that accompany this process are then initiated. If you have traveled the worlds as a soul that was consciously anchored to the physical body, you will go into this transition easily and peacefully. But if you have lived unconsciously and not at all in any self-directed manner, you will experience this process as a frightening. But now, you people will hear this. Fear is not a soul energy. Fear is not a soul energy. It is just a function of the ego. If you have begun early to establish the connection to the other worlds through conscious and connected actions in your life, you will go through this process very joyfully. So please be aware that time as a human is also a chance to prepare for this transition.
Please tell us what exactly will happen. So you have said that the soul slowly separates from the body, probably always in accordance with the physical energy. What, in your view, is important for people to know about transition? Could you perhaps maybe even describe what it looks like in general?
No. How and what you experience is exclusively determined by your consciousness, your awareness. If you have used and formed the necessary tools during your lifetime, you will see and experience the other worlds. If you have not done so, you will not have this experience, but will enter into another.
Please describe what else is important for the people when the energy has been so weakened that the separation is actually taking place already.
When the energy is so weak that the body can no longer hold the energy of the soul, the final process of detachment will begin. This means that the soul will slowly begin to expand out of the constriction of the body. Such a process should take place slowly and peacefully. Friend of the Indian named 7 days for this. This is about the time that the soul needs to get used to its new state of being free of physical limits. But some will have to leave the body very suddenly, and then this process will take even longer because of the sudden interruption of the connection to the body. The disharmonic extraction of the soul energy from the body does not exactly engender a feeling of well-being. This means that the soul will tarry, dazed and confused near the body, and sometimes even try to get back inside it. But this is impossible, as you know, without the life-supporting organs. So these souls need a little longer in order to calm down and to adjust to the changed circumstances.
Very interesting. This raises the question as to how a soul that does not have feelings like we know it with our body, that we as a human beings recognized is supposed to calm down. So how does it work for a soul to calm down, as you said?
You are correct from your understanding of emotions. But the souls operate mostly via memories. The memories are stored inside you and they direct the soul's impulses. Like the whales that sense the magnetic fields of the earth and react to them, the souls operate through the different circumstances, but still also directed by their experiences. So, triggered by the external impulses, the whale would use his inner impulses to react to them. But if it were still completely inexperienced, it would gather experience via the external impulses. You are guided in equal measure by the outer circumstances and your inner experience. But through the sudden death of the body, the tools that you have been using up until now are torn away from you, and suddenly other tools, those of the soul, are more effective than before. This then will lead to a lot of confusion. Therefore, this soul will need a little more time to live the transition than others.
Can you explain this a little bit better? What do you mean by live the transition? Are the souls then in a sort of intermediate world? What does it look like there?
The intermediate world, as you call it, is only the state of transition. For the new spiritual worlds are as yet experienced very faintly, but the material worlds of human existence are not experienced very strongly any longer either. The state of being is the intermediate world that you just named.
Intermediate.
Intermediate. I'm sorry for that.
It probably doesn't matter what it looks like there, right?
Absolutely. You create the tools for this perception in your respective lives. But this perception will no longer work in the spiritual world. However this may be, these perceptions are what enables you to experience this state of being. After an indefinite time, and that depends very much on the experience gathered through life, in how far these still have an effect, for instance blocking or inspiring due to the expansion of the soul, the experience of the state of transition in the intermediate world will change. The souls then begin to expand into the energy that they had gathered before the last life, and that some have been able to add to during this latest life. That unconscious people could not, and conscious people could. But all in all, through the cosmic impulses, the souls are continuously nourished by cosmic energy. Some people can make use of this energy, while others cannot as yet, because they do not know how.
Okay, so we realize that the intermediate world is just a particular state of being. This perception will change, and then we will perceive the same thing as before, but in a different way. Friend of the Indians gave me a beautiful image for this by describing how many a person who has been lonely suddenly realizes through his changed perception in the intermediate world that there are many other souls around him and there is no reason to be lonely anymore. This explains that our entire existence is shaped exclusively by our own perception, and that it is not our environment that changes always, and that, funnily enough, is only and also true for life. How did it go again? As above, so below. Here you could say, as in spirit, so in matter, and vice versa, right?
Yes, that is a very, very important key.
What would you like to tell the people if they understood the significance of perception, and that it is still a process that everybody has to go through?
That the worlds that surround you have been here forever, through all forms. If you want to teach your soul joy, you should try to do this on a daily basis. The joy of being. For through it alone the energy of the soul will grow, which will help you to go through transition faster.
You mean with faster, because after all there is no such thing as time, just that perception changes faster, so that through a lot of accumulated joy you can see more and faster, right? Can see the lighter and more beautiful levels immediately to be there with all the other beings, instead of lingering in this transitional state of acclimatization, right?
Right, absolutely. You have said this very beautifully, Sylvia.
Well,
to find the words to express what I mean is not always very easy, because the impulses that I mean are supported through a lot of knowledge. But ultimately it has to be explained in a way that the people can understand. For what use is it if I utter a sound that carries a lot of information, but you cannot understand this sound? So yes, absolutely. I would love to carry on doing this.
okay, would you like to say anything else about the subject of transition?
No,
Maybe something about what the people can do in their last hours?
that would go far beyond this format. And it has been extensively spoken about and recorded in the books of Friend of the Indians and Anubis.
Yes, you're right. Okay. Then I will add a footnote here that there are 2 more books on the subject, and we have also done the podcast, and this is all recorded in season 1 and season 2 here. So please have a look into it. And but most important, I think it's more season 2, because this was taking care about birth and death, and this writing a lot of and saying a lot of it. Okay, would you like to say anything else to this subject?
No.
Then thank you very much for this today. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Love.
Thank you.